zone. My name is Marcy Ellum, in case you don't know me. I'm from the Rotary Club of Miami Brickell. And I am really pleased to introduce not only an outstanding Rotarian, but a really good friend. Cyndi is a past district governor, but she is most importantly a member of the Rotary Club of Fort Myers South. She has been a Rotarian for 28 years and served as a governor in 2015 and 16. In that capacity, as you can imagine, she served at numerous club roles as well as district roles. Currently, she is serving Rotary at the zone level. For those of you who don't know, zones are the geographic areas that comprise multiple districts. So Zone 34, there are 34 zones in the world. How we end up being Zone 34 is beyond me, but we are Zone 34, and it is Georgia, Florida, and the Caribbean. And she, in that role, she is in the zone, she's serving as an assistant Rotary coordinator, which focuses entirely, it's a team of people that focus on membership. She has been a facilitator and is a key person in the Sunshine Division of RLI. She has been a district RLI director and discussion leader, and I worked for her in multiple of those situations, and she's a fabulous boss as well. And she's also been a pets trainer. So she has lots of other honors and community involvement. Let me just say, this is a lady who knows what she's talking about. And without further ado, I want to hand it over to her. Please, if you have questions, put them in the chat and I'll try to monitor that. But the good thing is at the end, we can probably just have a discussion. So thank you, Cyndi, for being here. Take it away.
All right. Good morning, everybody. And thank you again for being here. Saturday morning, you're taking the time to serve Rotary, and that means a great deal to us. You know, it's not normal. Most people like to spend their Saturdays easing into the day, and you're here today ready to be excited about more opportunities to serve Rotary. And we really, really sincerely appreciate that. And Marcy, I love you. She's a dear friend. You talk about credentials. That lady is off the charts dynamic. So she and Drew have really put together a fabulous assembly for 6990. And I am humbled and honored to be a part of it. But we're here this morning to talk about membership engagement. And if you have heard out there that now's not a good time to bring new members into Rotary, that is not correct. Let me repeat that. That is not correct information. Right now, with all the challenges we're facing, now is the perfect time to provide individuals that are looking for opportunities to serve, to get them engaged and becoming Rotarians like you and I. So keep that in mind. Even with everyone being sequestered, people are seeking opportunities to serve their communities. So let's keep that in mind. I have a slide presentation, a PowerPoint that's sitting here for you to look at, and I'm going to actually go through it rather quickly because it starts on membership in itself, but we want to focus this session primarily on engagement and what that means. Now, when I talked about it, it's all Greek to me, and why membership should be a priority. We often make the mistake of not listening to our members. They do have the key for us understanding not only how we grow as clubs, but how we retain our members. Membership is a priority because the clubs are the #1 source of Rotary continuing to do the good work that they do around the world. So membership must always be a priority in your club and at the district level. And I can assure you that your governor is constantly hearing the word membership drive or membership enhancement or membership retention. But now today, we really do want to talk about membership engagement. A lot of clubs need to adapt, and they don't want to. They are recognizing that they're just trying to stay alive. They're just trying to keep their members attending, participating. And so today's conversation is absolutely 100% committed on talking to those that don't want to change, aren't willing to change, and getting them engaged or re-engaged to make a difference in their Rotary walk and in your club's ability to grow and bring new members in. Also, our ability to be flexible, thinking out of the box and working with our young adults, not to mention youth service in general, which those of you that know me, youth service is my passion. So we also are talking about our flexibility and our willingness to adapt to more diversity in our clubs. And believe it or not, that still is a very, very active conversation ongoing. So we want to think about what, who, when, where, and why. And those are all very standard questions, but we always go back to the fundamentals. What do we have to do? Who are we trying to reach? When are we trying to reach them? Where in the world do we reach them? But let's go back to why. Why are we doing this, and why are we here this morning? So think about it. And this is a fundamental question we ask at Rotary Leadership Institute. And I'm hoping most of you have participated and graduated from RLI. But is your club welcoming? And the members in your club, are they willing to diversify? And are they willing to listen to one another in order to grow and engage current members for retention and new members? We have to listen to our membership, and we have to bring the conversation to the table. And if you're in a club right now that is completely content with where you at, I want to come to your meeting this next week, because you're the clubs that must be doing it right. But I challenge you, most clubs aren't there. Most clubs are desperate for growth, desperate for engagement, and desperate for opportunities to meet and greet more people. As we grow and engage, though, your leadership has to come up with a goal. You have to have a plan, because we have to know where we are right now, obviously. We have to think about where we were in the past, but we have to have a goal for where we want to be in the future. And engagement is critical to achieving that goal. So growing in engagement, club membership, you see that visual with all the puzzle pieces? That's what we're going to talk about right now. Now, as Marcy mentioned earlier, if you have questions or want to make comments, go to the chat box, which is should be at the right top side of your screen, and go ahead and ask some questions, and she'll monitor that for us. So let's talk about engagement. I'm actually going to get rid of this right now, and I'm going to look at you eyeball to eyeball. So I am stopping the show, and here I am, and I want to see all your wonderful faces. Okay, here we are. Good morning. So when I said Greek to me, we wondered, would that topic or that title encourage people to participate? Are there any Greeks in the room on this Zoom? Raise your hand if you're Greek. Okay. So, when we talk about engagement, in the English language, engage to us brings one thought process, right? All right, get involved. But actually, engage has many, many different definitions. For example, to engage means to anticipate. So we want our clubs to anticipate more involvement, right? It also means to promise or to guarantee. To engage means we're going to promise and guarantee our members that we're going to do something significant to make a difference in their lives. Engage also means we want to meet, we want to join together, we want to participate. We want to exchange pledges. We want to make that commitment and pledge to each other that we're going to stay involved. And then, of course, it means to unite. And as Rotarians, we do have a common cause, and we do have a common purpose. And the more we communicate that effectively to our members, the happier everybody will be in order to fulfill their passion for Rotary. And everyone has their own passion. Now, at this point, I want to hear just a little bit about each of yours primary interests, because that's critical to our listening technique. So I want everybody to unmute right now. And then I want to start with Lygia. Lygia, good morning. Do you know how to unmute? Go up to the top and you'll see there you go. So share, and I think I know the answer to this, but share with me one passion you have for Rotary.
International service.
International service. Okay, great.
Right now in about 5 different global grants.
Excellent. Excellent. Very good. All right, Doug Maimon.
Potable water and sanitation.
Water and sanitation, big one. We got to have it, don't we? Excellent. Okay, Steve,
Scholarships,
scholarships?
yes,
So youth service in general or?
yes. Yeah, youth services, among them scholarships. We've given out over $100,000 worth of scholarships for like the 5th or 6th consecutive year to high school students graduating.
Excellent. Oh, I love it. I want to hear more about that. Okay, I don't have a name on the screen. It says owner. So sorry.
Yeah, I don't know why it's there. It's Dennis from the
Dennis.
Keys.
Great.
Community service with focus on the senior citizens in our community.
Fantastic. Okay, so youth service, senior service. I love it. This is the wonderful diversity of Rotary. Deb Richmond, I don't see your beautiful face, but what is your passion?
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, youth services, all aspects. I work with Steve also on the scholarships, but I also love Interact and Rotary Youth Exchange.
Yay, my passion. Perfect, perfect. Okay, Gail.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mine is feeding children in our local community who go home to no food.
Excellent. That is amazing. Oh, someone's ringing. Somebody on here and all it says is iPad and I can't see a name or so. Can you respond? Are you with us?
This is CVS Pharmacy.
Oh, CVS Pharmacy. Wow, we're going to go international. Okay, let's go back and mute our phones. Let's go back and mute our phones so that we don't hear a lot of distractions. So as I hit a specific topic that you are doing in your club, I want you to raise your hand and I want to talk about what you're doing. And I think it's owner that's has it muted. So we'll hopefully get him to mute in just a few minutes. What are some of the things that your club is currently doing to engage your members? So, hey, Dennis, we just heard ZVS on the phone, so we might need to remute or unmute.
Oh, I'm on mute.
Yeah,
You want me
no,
to-
go ahead and mute now. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so every club has their stalwart members that have been there forever, right? And they come for a social aspect. So for them, Rotary is completely about socialization. Nothing wrong with that because friendship is really what our Rotary Walk is all about, and it's part of what keeps us coming back. But as all of you have referenced, it's also finding your passion and being able to meet that passion or exceed that desire. Well, how are we engaging right now? So are your clubs Zooming? How many clubs have started meeting? Just raise your hand. How many clubs have started meeting again? Excellent. Okay. I like the thumbs up. Thanks, Deb. How many of you are still wearing masks? Good. Not that many. People are getting comfortable. So in view of what we've done in the past, what are some of the hey Kevin, how are you?
I think you did, yeah.
Sorry, I had some trouble getting in here. Sorry.
That's okay. If everyone could go ahead and remute, because I'm hearing multiple conversations, I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much. So let's talk about some examples of engaging. So we know we can meet, and some of your clubs are getting back together, which is amazing. People have missed that socialization. We also know that we can pick up the phone and call people. And something that clubs have been very successfully doing these past couple of months is picking up the phone, having those emails written. Actually, some people have done it the old-fashioned way using snail mail and writing personal notes and cards. I want to tell you that has been really effective these last couple of months. We have many members that have felt completely isolated. And so little notes of thanks and encouragement, and you're still with us, that it's gone a long way. But what are some other examples of ways that your clubs have actually engaged? One at a time, raise your hand and then unmute and give me an example. Okay, Dennis. And when you do raise your hand, go ahead and unmute at that time.
It's a little tiny box idea. Because I'm 76 years old, they treat me like a senior citizen. And so You know, it's really nice when they call me and say, I'm outside your house, there's a box of vegetables on your porch.
Lovely.
They've brought us a number of things. We're highly mobile, even though we've been staying home and continue to do so. But they constantly think of us. We get phone calls and emails and things on the doorstep, and it's wonderful. It's my family.
Fabulous. Anybody else want to make a comment? Okay, Doug.
Okay, we try to make sure somebody's in charge of something.
Excellent. So you're delegating effectively.
Well, we're also a small club. We have 22 members, and they came from a club of 130.
I
Or
remember.
whatever we have now, Steve.
I remember.
Weston.
So you're giving every member in your club a responsibility because you're a smaller club. So give me some examples of those responsibilities, Doug.
Well, they haven't had a sergeant of arms in a few years. We reinstated that for one of our newer members. We try to change membership shares every 3 years just to rotate it around. And then once in a while, and we do a big job on supporting the food banks in Citrus County. Because we found out after we moved up here, not our section, but it's one of the poorer counties in Florida, so there is great need.
So
70% of the kids get their meals through the schools.
fabulous, fabulous.
So
what?
we assign schools out to different people that they're in charge of coordinating with the food bank that supports that school.
Okay.
Just
So
as an example.
So what you're saying is you've taken projects that your clubs are passionate about and you've delegated those responsibilities to specific members to keep the ball rolling in a positive moment, with positive momentum on that.
Yeah, it's one of those, everybody in the club participates on every project, but we have different coordinators for it.
Okay.
I am so sorry. I am so sorry, guys. I have to interrupt from a technical perspective. I'm going to see if I can turn the thing over to you, Cyndi, because I've got another group that's not able to get into a session and I need to jump off. I'm not sure I can do it, but.
So if we all go blank, we'll all call Marcy.
Yeah.
Yeah, please don't. Let me just see if I can do that. I'm trying to, so I'm going to make you the host.
Okay.
And then I'm going to leave.
Okay.
And I think you'll be okay.
Okay.
If for some reason everything happens, just click back in on the link in the DTA, the website.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. So to Doug's point, how many of you have actually, your leadership in your club has taken the time to have this conversation about staying engaged as a club? Did you have, okay, good. Dennis, anybody else? Great. Deb, anybody else? Excellent, excellent. So from the zone perspective, we have been trying to support your club leadership, your presidents, and encourage them to have a constant open line of communication with the membership, because if we don't touch our members, that's a problem. And what Doug has suggested is one of the key elements to engaging our members. Whether you're a club of 22 or in my case, a club of 145 plus, depending on the time of year, it's significantly important that we listen to our members and pay attention to what keeps them motivated and excited and wanting to be engaged. But remember I talked about the different definitions. We have to remember that engagement also means this is our promise to stay connected with our members. So someone else, give me an example of how your club has taken the engagement piece and actually gotten your clubs to do a project. Anybody? Deborah.
Hi, good morning. Thank you. I'm with the Rotary Club of Weston, and very early on, when we first started having social distancing, well, we began our Zoom meetings immediately. I don't think we missed any meetings at all, but we started a program called Rotary Feeds, and it started with feeding the front lines. We wanted to go into the healthcare facilities and give some kind of rewarding lunch, snack, something. And we did that. We went to Cleveland Clinic and we had about 10 Rotarians that were allowed to come, obviously masked, outside, social distancing, the whole thing. But the goal was not only to reward the healthcare workers, but to help the restaurants that were struggling in our community. So we got a committee of people. We selected smaller restaurants that were struggling, and we reached out to them and asked them if they wanted to be part of it. They didn't have to discount their food. They would just participate. And so we helped, I would say, about 15 restaurants. We ended up serving restaurant meals being delivered to over 1,000 families. And we went to Cleveland Clinic and served all of their employees, Memorial Healthcare's Children's Hospital, and the National Guard that was doing COVID testing. So that was we just ended it last week.
Fantastic. How many of you, by a raise of hands, have participated in food bank projects? Awesome. There have been amazing opportunities throughout Zone 34, but also around the world for members to do that. Packaging. So clubs, I have to say, our clubs are resilient, but it takes strong leadership. And what are some examples of strong leadership? Accountability, right? Do most of you feel your clubs have been accountable for engaging your members? I think we have a very positive outcome of clubs that have stepped up. Also, has anyone on this Zoom felt neglected? Let's talk about feeling neglected. Anybody felt neglected? Speak up now. From an engagement perspective. Let me clarify. We all have moments of neglect, right?
Well, Debbie wouldn't talk to me last week, so.
I'm sorry, I should have called you, Doug. I apologize. Yeah. All right, we actually have some members that have felt neglected, that have said to us, some say, you know, I'm not loved anymore, I'm not appreciated, I just kind of dropped off the planet. If your club is not paying attention to your members and picking up the phone or emailing or sending notes of appreciation and just checking in, that's a problem. And I would really challenge each of you to reach out to not only your club president when today's over, but also to seek opportunities to have a conversation with your membership chair. Your membership chair is vitally, vitally important to keep your members engaged. Likewise, your leadership as your club president and your entire leadership team, they have to stay consistently involved in engaging with our members. So we need to be cognizant that there are members that have been in lockdown 100%, 3 months, and they are desperate for conversation, let alone a piece of mail, right? So what are some other examples? Sincerity. How many of you feel that people are being pretty honest and upfront with you about how things are going in Rotary and how your club is doing and how your relationship with everyone is? Everyone feel pretty good? Excellent. Well, some people don't feel that way. Some people aren't sensing that sincerity in our interests. What about our giving? How many of you have continued to give outside of your regular dues? You know, the foundation, excellent, excellent. There, as I stated earlier in my opening, now really is a perfect time for us to grow Rotary and retain our members, but also people are more desperate than ever for our support, and the foundation must be supported. And our members must continue to give effectively to the foundation and to the many programs, whether it's a scholarship for youth service. And we have kids just now coming home from being abroad. And of course, we're not gonna have kids outgoing until potentially next January. So our engagement with youth service, depending on the program, but specifically Rotary Youth Exchange, is stalled right now. How do we continue to engage those parents and those students and the Rotarians that are passionate about Rotary Youth Exchange, or Interact, or Rotaract, or RILA? The point that was made earlier is we have to give Rotarians a responsibility. So what Doug mentioned about holding people accountable in your club, talk to your club president and talk to your club leadership and your membership chair and say, give me a job if you don't have one already. Or let's look at our membership and let's make sure everybody in the club is responsible for something. That is a very, very simple method of engagement in Rotary. And clubs that miss that message, I think, are missing opportunities. So how many of you can think of an example of how we can engage our members other than what's already been shared with us? Take a minute, unmute, and then share an example of how we can engage our members today, as some clubs are still closed and some clubs are opening up. What are some opportunities? Yes, Kevin.
Well, we've just been in fundraising mode because, you know, our big auction, our big fundraiser was canceled in May. So we usually generate $80,000 and that's our budget for the next year. But it hasn't stopped us. We started, you know, we're rocking and rolling. We've been doing bingo nights online and everyone seemed to really jump on that. We're an older club, so a lot of them are still very hesitant about going out. So it's really hard to, you know, still meet in person. But the bingo nights have been very successful. It's really easy. We just, you know, we get all online and it's just a kind of fun time, just kind of raising money now. That's really the mode that we're in right now. But we do have a lot of older members that still, I mean, we're a club of 60 members and we're only getting about 30 members to, you know, to log online. But we've taken the initiative to just kind of to get some iPads and stuff and to those older houses, set it up for them, you know, and try and get them. It's been pretty unsuccessful in that, but I mean, we're trying to, you know, at least get them on Zoom because I think we will be virtually for, you know, in the next, I would say at least 2-3 months, we're still going to be online. So we're focusing our energy just to get those members, you know, get their faces online. Really, that's where we're at.
You know, Kevin, you said something so wonderful. Not only are you teaching people how to become more technologically savvy, you are going to them. You are meeting with them and you are helping them get set up. You have no idea the impact that makes on someone. So thank you. Thank you for that service and thank you to your club. That really is huge. So, and that's the key. It's personal, it's relationships, it's taking the time to care sincerely. Who has another example? I love that, Kevin. Thank you. Okay, Steve.
We've actually, since going to Zoom, which is now 3 months, we've actually had more people attend those meetings than attended our usual breakfast meetings. And we've reached out to some of the people who hadn't even attended for a long time, and they're now joining us, and we're trying to get them involved. Yeah. Deborah had already mentioned a project that we started. We got some new people from that, and we got some new members on Zoom, people who weren't there. Actually, we've gotten 5 or 6 members since we went to Zoom. And we encourage them when they come into the club to actually get engaged in at least one of the committees that they do for their passion. So we're working on new people as well as our existing members.
So are these, Steve, so these are not alumni, they're actually active members, but that haven't been participating by attending, is what you mean?
Correct. Some of them hadn't attended meetings for months before. And they either because of the time or they weren't interested. And one of them who probably hadn't attended for close to a year, I contacted. We had some contact because of a project we were working on. And I said, why don't you come on and join us? And he's going to do that regularly now. So.
Okay, excellent.
One-on-one.
One-on-one, critical. And I would challenge you, look at your alumni as well, because just go to the next step for people that you haven't heard from in a long time. We're finding there are a lot of clubs that are reaching out to members all over the world that have moved away. So they left Rotary, you know, their Rotary Club, and they never joined another Rotary Club wherever they moved. And that is becoming a fabulous opportunity to re-engage Rotarians that have left us, because they can now still be part of the family of their original club. So maybe talk to your membership chair about that, because that's becoming very obvious. You know, as we transition, a lot of members say, I don't want to go back to the old way. I don't want to have to get dressed and get in a car and go somewhere. I want to just Zoom it. Other members
of
are
them.
dying to get back to the social aspect. I think we're going to have to do both, at least provide the option to our members. So that's awesome. Now, Doug Maimon, you have been on. I heard Debbie in the background. What's going on in your new club?
Well, it's an interesting experience, again, going from 130 some odd to 22, but it's really kind of cool because everybody participates. One of those, because we have to keep it going. And one of the things we have is continuity of communication with the members.
Right.
Club president sends out a recap of the meeting every week to each member, so the ones that aren't there still feel engaged. We're very big at recognizing events, anniversaries, birthdays, not only during the meeting, but there's a big banner on our Facebook page for the particular member and stuff, usually with a cute graphic.
Good.
Depending on what I think I can get away with putting it up. So.
Okay. Well, and what I'm hearing consistently from all of you that have shared is you're listening to your members and you're touching your members, and that is the key. And you know, I love that we have this capability to really have a conversation, because in our typical club meetings we don't. Now, this is the part of the conversation, and believe me, this hour has gone so quickly. We only have about 15, 20 minutes left. The point that we want to leave you all with today, and I want to make sure you have this point because I think it's critical, is how do we communicate effectively with our club leadership to keep our members focused on what is the plan, what is the purpose of the club and their Rotary walk. So let me say it again in another way. We have, as leaders, I have to keep telling Lygia and Doug and Kevin and Steve and Dennis and Deb and everyone else on the screen, I can't see you all, but we have to keep reminding you, it's our job as Rotarians and family to remind you, why are we doing this? Why do we keep doing Rotary? Why are we different? Why do we want to grow? Why do we want the family to be enhanced? And when we think about that, we each have that Rotary moment that we can share, whether it's youth, whether it's scholarship, whether it's hunger, whether it's child and maternal welfare, you know, the avenues of service, the objects of Rotary. Why? So please talk to your club leadership and remind them how vitally important the structure of your club meetings are. Those of us that have been Rotarians a long time, and I've been 28 years now, one of those first lady, not one of the first, but early, right? Why is it important that every meeting we participate in, we are reminded why we do what we do? Who has an answer? Who would like to answer that? I have an answer and I'm going to share it, but go ahead, Dennis.
Well, as a retired educator, I will tell you, you have to hear something 18 times before you own it. And it doesn't matter how perceptive or bright we think we are. Repetitive reminders aren't a bad thing. And then, of course, it's how you do it. It needs to be done in a humanistic style. It needs to be cordial. It needs to smack of family at all times. And I just wanted to say, our club is age 23 to 76. Most of our members are in their 20s, 30s, and early 40s. There's a few of us that are older. And I will tell you, it is a multi-generational family. And if you have babies, when we were meeting together, you could bring your baby. You could bring your small child.
That's cool.
It's an amazing club in that it's completely open to everyone's circumstance. And the other thing is, if you're not there, 3 or 4 people will call you or email you that night and make sure you're okay. And they don't even have to be told, because we became a club 1 year ago. We were a satellite that chartered 1 year ago this month. And we chartered as a family. And so we maintain that when we bring new members in, we let them know that they're coming into a family.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. What a fabulous testimony for your club. I mean, I'm inspired just hearing that. And those are the messages we want to share. So you have to have good club meetings to keep your members engaged. You have to keep educating them so they understand why we keep doing what we're doing, right? Deborah pointed out in the chat room, with their great videos out there, great videos that your club president should never say, oh, our speaker didn't show up, right? Because man, you just plug in a video and you talk about the power of Rotary and pulling at the heartstrings, right? So engaging your members visually is equally as important as touching them personally, right? So I'm a warm and fuzzy Southern gal that, I mean, I hug everybody still. Don't tell me I can't hug people. It's not going to happen. I will always hug you. So that personal aspect of engaging is critically, vitally important just in common life, but especially in Rotary, in my opinion. But the second piece of that is to provide the information and the continued education, as Dennis so appropriately shared, that our members understand why do we keep doing it. Number one, it's about relationships and our friends, but number two, it's the good we're doing in the world. And we keep reminding our members and we keep re-engaging them in the good programs that we have. That's critically important. Now, I've heard some great passionate ideas, and I want to now ask you, thanks, Deborah, I love you too. Mwah, you're so sweet. I want us to take the next step and think about how do we really think out of the box and engage people that don't look like us, think like us, act like us. And that's the next step that Rotary is going to. So although Dennis has 27 to 70 in age demographic, which is phenomenal and unique, and I love it, how do we take clubs that are all 50, age 50 and higher, 60 and higher? How do we get them to diversify? Because doggone it, that's not the way we do it. We're not doing it anymore. How do we engage those Rotarians? What do you think? Who's got an idea? Dennis.
Well, I started in a club like that. My first club was all older and immovable and locked into position and locked into thinking. And I think the key, and I'm a past president of that club, and I think the key to unlocking that whole situation was to honor the experience, the knowledge of Rotary, the knowledge of how Rotary works, to honor that by asking their opinion, their advice, and at the same time, when bringing in new members, to be sure that they're hooked up with the senior members who have so much rich background to share, because there's a tendency for younger people to want to push older people aside because we seem to do that. We just seem to do that. It's like you've had your moment, step out of the way. But actually, there's such a wealth of knowledge and experience. And so what we did was we honored that, we incorporated it. And when you put new with experienced or seasoned, doesn't go by chronological age necessarily, and you let people communicate like that, I think that builds some bonds and some stronger relationships. And so you don't have the tug of war between, I've been here for 30 years and you just got here 30 seconds ago.
Right. You know, I think somehow you got a hold of my my personal PowerPoint there, Dennis, because again, spot on with where I'm going with this conversation. Good minds think alike. We must value the history we have in our clubs. We must value that. And quite often clubs make the mistake not highlight. You know, clubs used to have classification talks. Does everybody remember the classification talks that we all had? We old timers. Yes. So you get 3 to 5 minutes to give a classification talk. I challenge you to speak to your club leadership about allowing your wiser members to have a few moments to address your club. But similarly, let's give the youth, the younger professionals, an opportunity, because remember, why did they join Rotary? Probably for the same reasons we joined when we were in our 30s, right? They want to network. They want to hobnob with the older guard that's been around. They want to engage in good works locally and globally. We can't forget that important message. It's critically, vitally important. all of the things we're talking really stems from listening to our members. But if you're from a club, again, I'm going to go back to the point that just doesn't want to change, and that's a real situation in many clubs. We can't engage them. They're not willing to engage. How else can we engage them other than what we've already shared? Anybody? Anybody want to hit that topic? Steve, I see you thinking. Okay. So I would submit, if you go to the members and you sit with them and you say, okay, we're not growing, we're stagnant, nothing's happening. If you have an open dialogue, you engage them, you communicate with them, and listen to why they believe you're where you're at, I think that'll go a long way. Now, if you come out of that conversation and they still say, I'm not doing it, you can't make me do it, our club doesn't want to change, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay if they want to stay where they're at, but we recognize that they're going to die out, right? But there are many members that don't want to be in that environment. So it's the job of the club leadership to provide them opportunities to grow elsewhere. And we keep pushing, grow your club. So clubs are afraid to lose members. But I say to you, if there are members in your club that aren't being fed, that aren't growing, that aren't engaging effectively, share with them the opportunities with other clubs, whether it's an e-club, it's a club down the street that meets at lunch or at night or the morning, depending. Share opportunities for them to diversify in their Rotary walk. Yes. Steve, unmute. Unmute.
I thought I did that. Well, what we did really, and I credit Joe Roth with organizing it, and that's that we started a satellite club. And for people who either weren't as much engaged, or even some of them who were engaged, who wanted to start something new and help, and some of them were let's say seasoned members who wanted to go to do elsewhere and everything. And in addressing something you mentioned earlier, we also got several people who used to be in our Rotary Club many years ago. We probably got at least 3 or 4 of those back involved in Rotary now, because it's a different time for them and it's a different time for the meeting and things of that. And that's part of what we've done.
Okay, Marcy has a point.
Well, I have a comment. I hope that Cyndi has shared her contact information with you all. And if not, Cyndi, I would ask you to do that. Unfortunately, in this Zoom world, we have to get off this so I can start another session because I got speakers waiting there who are anxious to get in. So Cyndi, thank you so much. I apologize for my chaos of being in and out, but I know what a great presenter you are and you can handle it. So kudos. Thank you all for participating. Do they have your contact information?
No, I'm gonna give it to them real quick and then we'll sign off. You guys have been amazing. So Cyndi Doragh, I spell Cyndi backwards. It's C-Y-N-D-I. C-Y-N-D-I. Doragh, D as in David, O-R as in Randy, A as in Apple, G as in Gary, H as in Hamlet. So D-O-R-A-G-H. And my email is my name, Cyndi.Doragh at dorahlawfirm.com. DORAGHLAWFIRM.com. All right, you guys have been amazing. Thank you for the opportunity. Y'all have a great day and a wonderful assembly. And reach out to me anytime. Mwah. Love you all.
Good seeing you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye now. Thanks,
Welcome
Marcy.
back.
Thank you.